Welcome back, Blade Gang. This old sword with you. And we're back to Russia again with more Russian knives from the company Dagger Knives. And this one's quite special. Not without its issues, but we'll get to that in a moment. You may recall that I had done a review on this guy not too long ago, and have to actually look him up. Pardon me. That one is the Sting, and I figured I was going to use the mnemonic suggestion and remembrance there of the singer Sting, right? And it never works, so whatever. Apologies to Sting of the formerly of the Police, cool band and whatnot. Okay, so what have we got? Again, a dagger style knife. Interesting, isn't it? This is a big boy. What we have is a twill carbon fiber laminated to G10. So you may or may not like that. It is red, woven with kind of a white and black. And we're going to need some room. I'm going to take a look at it closed first. Has some unusual features. Has the Screaming Skull clip. You're going to see that it does have a double lock. And let's take a look at the blade, shall we? Oh man. So that is a 5-inch dagger blade, sharpened only on one side, obviously. So we've got a pretty thin handle. It's an impressive knife, what can I say? It is a frame lock, hardened steel insert. There's some rough edges on this knife. Right up in here, where that was cut out for the lock. That's a little sharp, and the back edge here is a little sharp. Nothing that a diamond file couldn't cure, but in my book, it's probably lacking some of the finesse that you would see in a Best Tech. This is an $85 knife, okay? So not exactly budget, but not exactly expensive, but definitely unusual. Got a little bit of a finger choil there. If you're careful, you can put your finger in sideways without getting nicked on that corner. Got a full sharpening choil all the way out to the choil. Nice and evenly ground satin finish on this one. Very slender handle. Lots left over. Glass breaker, skull crusher on the end that's all part of that backspacer at the very pommel, otherwise wide open, pinned here, and a stop pin there. A few of the things I found quality wise, and we'll get to some measurements in a moment, is that here and there you run into a screw head that might be a little bit munged up. I'm not sure. I couldn't find a Torx that fit that perfectly. It wasn't a T5, 6, 7, or 8. These are T8s. You can take these screws out, and they're very short, and they screw into a center collar or tube, and I have not been able to fully disassemble the knife, although I didn't give it my all. I was trying to make it, you can see that that is very tight. This is not going to be your fidgety knife. And the other thing that's tight, because it's got a hell of a detent, is this flipper. You're not easily going to be able to flip that. There is jimping here. If you really give it a good push, it'll go. And I suppose the idea with most knives is you get them open and you use them, and this one's got kind of a tactical defensive style to it for sure. Definitely a thruster, and got a pretty decent edge on there. Not real aggressive, but it will shave. They use this feature here, almost looks like a skull head at the end. Maybe that's why that they cut that in. It's sort of a feature on their knives. Let's see if we can pop the Sting out. I remembered the name now. And show you a similar feature here. You notice there's a cutout, but in this case they've got a backspacer that spans that and creates the lanyard hole. That one, by the way, the Sting, is a very good functioning one. Similar to any Spyderco hole opening knife. This being a little different though. I think it's breaking in. I've had this close to a week and I held off doing any reviews until I kind of knew the knife a little better and got it functioning. And it's functioning okay. Just a few rough spots. I think their production should improve. The Sting I felt was very well made, and it's a nice snappy knife, no problems with it. But when you go this large and you have a relatively small flipper tab, you got the situation there of leverage. And I know that Zelric from Todd Knife and Tool always said that it's best to kind of put that flipper a little ahead of the pivot to give you a little more leverage. Maybe that's where it's suffering here. But, you know, I can get it open. It's not a big deal. It's just not going to be real fidgety. And it is an impressive knife. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to go right to a larger knife, the Ontario Rat 1, which is dwarfed by this Vendetta. And I did say the name was Vendetta, right? So we all know what that means. A Vendetta knife, and there's the Sicilian Vendetta knife, I believe, that is famous for being used for that purpose. You can see that the Griptilian is a good deal smaller than both the Rat 1 and the Vendetta. And there is the Freak, just freaking out because it's got an inferiority complex today. Next to this one, we'll take another little tour around in case you missed some details. That glass breaker is all one piece with that spacer, and you can see here, you know, the finishing isn't maybe the greatest on that backspacer. You know, clip looks good. What do we got for screws? We do have a flush screw, but we have a clip that is not inset, and it is reversible. They've done that much. So if you want to go left hand, it certainly looks like you can. Just interesting all the way around, and that double lock is very reminiscent of what I see on some SRM knives, Sanrenmu, and it does lock it up very well. And every now and then you got to give it a little extra push. I think there's a little bit of lock stick going on there. So, interesting knife from Russia, the Vendetta from Dagger Knives. Hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. I hope to find you some more interesting and unique blades in the weeks to come. Be well. Take care.